Ooh, hello, vegans from all over the world. It's another team introduction interview of our Meet the Freedom Team series. My name is June Fuchs. I'm the founder and CEO of the Freedom Quest, a wonderful quest, which is actually the quest that probably the biggest quest we've ever been on. The quest of veganizing over 50% of all humans on planet Earth by 2030. That's freaking ambitious. And that's why we've collected a whole lot of amazing vegans and welcomed them into our team. And furthermore, we've opened the doors to our education platform. Now, for those of you that don't know what the Freedom Quest is, let me just explain it for a minute. We provide an online community with access to courses designed to revolutionize vegan activism. Our courses educate and empower you to become a truly inspiring and impactful vegan change maker. So we're having a range of courses that we're providing to our members, right? Our members, they are signing up to our platform. We already welcomed a handful of beautiful members to the Freedom Quest platform that have embarked on a journey of enrolling in our courses and really stepping up their games as vegan activists and advocates. Now, if you're vegan and you're not active yet, if you haven't done any street outreach or demonstrations, that doesn't matter. We truly believe that activism has hundreds and thousands of different shapes and forms. And it's all about finding the one that matches your personality, that brings in your skills, passions, talents, and uniqueness, and then shaping that into a form that we can leverage and have more people in your network, online or offline, go vegan. So, for all of you that are interested in a platform like this, I want you to know that we're having an early bird discount happening right now. It's an early bird discount of 75% on all of our courses of our community, and with that becoming a family member of our Freedom family, right? Currently, we're having this discount until the end of July this month. So that means instead of $34 a month, you're only going to pay $8.50 a month until the end of 2024. So if you snatch that discount and if you join our community today, you're going to get, that big discount. You're going to save a whole lot of money and get access to those wonderful courses. Now, that's all that I wanted to share with you about the Freedom Quest. If you have any more questions around it, put it in the comments, put it in the chat in here. We'll answer it later. Now, who are we going to meet today? We're going to meet two wonderful people, Jacqueline and Quillan. You can already see them here. Hey, hey, displayed really small. So Jacqueline and Quillan, they are a co-coaching team focused on inspiring adults and kiddos alike to fuel themselves with foods that will help them thrive, spread compassion, and live sustainably. Jacqueline has her plant-based nutrition certification through Cornell Center for Nutrition Studies, and they amplify lifestyle medicine pillars in their coaching. They have been vegan since 2019 and can most often be found learning together through Quillan's homeschool curriculum, advocating for animal rights, volunteering within their community in the kitchen, whipping up meals, and Quillan is dancing about them meals. You can be found hiking, gardening, and creating miscellaneous. I don't even know how to pronounce that word, honey. Miscellaneous art. How do you pronounce that?
Miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous art. I've seen a lot of it already on your Instagram, Quillan. It's really beautiful. You're really hitting the point with understanding and bridging environmentalism, animal rights, compassion for everyone, and shaping it in a wonderful art form. So welcome to both of you. It's so lovely to have you in this live stream today. Say hello to Jacqueline and Quillan in the comments, everybody who's watching or listening. How are you two? It's morning time over there, huh?
We're doing well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful out.
It's
a good day.
beautiful out. Same here. Same over here in Switzerland. You're tuning in from New York, from the States, and I'm in Switzerland. Where's everybody else tuning in? Also, let us know in the comments. We want to know. So I'm really curious. These team introduction series, they have been really exciting for me personally, but also for us, right, as a team, since we are getting to know each other better. As I've shown you a little bit before, dear watchers, listeners, live stream experiencers, that was funny. The website that I just pulled up before with the introduction of Jacqueline and Quillan is our team. website. So if you want to know more about our team and get to know more members of our team, you go over to thefreedomquest.com. You click on the team section and you can have a look throughout our beautiful team members. So for you, Jacqueline and Quillan, you've been a part of the team since, what has it been? 1.5, 2 months already?
It was actually back in March that we started. I was realizing we had snow on the ground when this was all becoming fresh.
So it's been 3.5 months already. Time really flies. And I just wanted to ask you both, first of all, I'm really grateful because I think the way this connection with us has developed is so exciting, and I'm still very looking forward to what courses you are creating. You're currently in development of your courses, right? So all the trainers of our team, they're developing curriculums for our platform that are then going through a test round. And then after that, after tweaking and improving certain things, they will be uploaded to our platform. And in my opinion, when I met you both, you were just like the most interesting power couple of mama and son that I think I've ever met. Like my mom and I, we are a good power couple as well. But like what I'm seeing, the chemistry between both of you, I was like, oh,
I like you a little bit. And no, you and your mom are adorable. I love it. But yeah,
you've seen us dancing, right? We did an ecstatic dance within our team, and we were dancing together. She came in. That was really fun. Yeah. So I'm just like, I just want to ask you both, like, as a vegan family, how's it been for you, like transitioning? You know, you transitioned in 2019, and I would love to know from both of you personally, actually, Quillan and Jacqueline. I'm like, you transitioned at the same time, but like, how did that transition go for you? What was like the moment of, oh my God, I'm being vegan now?
I transitioned before you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started the path in 2019, and I had been kind of haunted by the compassionate reasons for a long while before then. But it was cognitive dissonance is like a big theme over here. And I feel like cognitive dissonance was ripe in me, just as it is with most people. And I'm German heritage. And it was like, but this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be eating all of this stuff. But then the environmental reasons started creeping in, and I started realizing, well, crap, like we may enjoy eating this stuff, but we actually aren't supposed to be eating this stuff. Like it's actually actively harming this beautiful, precious planet that I love so much, and that he and his father and I were all activists for. And it was actually Quillan's third birthday party in 2018 that we were sitting around a table of people, a lot of loved ones. And the big topic was how a lot of people had gone keto and how they had lost a lot of weight. And then a lot of other people were like, oh my gosh, like I'm signing right on that. And I was sitting there with this like Simon and Garfunkel, like, hello darkness, my old friend, like vision at the end of the table. Like if all of these people go vegan, that is even more animals in a time when we're supposed to be limiting our like consumption of animals because it's hurting the earth. And I was like, I really need to start saying something. And I didn't want to because I didn't want people to be uncomfortable. And it seemed like people were so excited about this. But then it was like that same year that, well, it was actually the following year. I was actually really quiet about it for the first year. For the first year of transitioning, I was doing a lot of like, well, you do you. And I was like, I just hope I'll inspire people by living by example. But I kept running into, I think different areas are different, different cultures are different. And CMY is really like gritty. And so it was like, the more happy and positive you were about it, the more people were like, that's great, fluffernutter. Like you do whatever you're going to do, but like, I'm not listening. The following year, yeah. Right? It's kind of like, so, but the following year, it is maddening, is when the Journal of Nature and the UN came out with that landmark study saying that animal agriculture, humans perpetuating this, were causing over 1 million species to go extinct. And that we were like rapidly approaching these climate cliffs. And I realized I can't be quiet about this anymore because it's not about the animals that people are eating and trying to have cognitive dissonance about. We're going to eradicate millions of species, and we're just a part of a web on this planet. And, you know, my son's going to be growing up in this like earth where people are excited about losing weight, but like ruining the planet and the animals. And I was like, I need to start speaking about this. And you started speaking up about it. Yeah. But then people kept shushing him, or I would, or it'd be like, well, that's an uncomfortable topic, so let's just not talk about that. And I realized that, but you countered back, but it's true. And I realized that I couldn't keep telling him to be quiet about something that was helpful and truthful, especially if it was helping the world around him. And so we just needed to lean into discomfort and start talking about things that were making people uncomfortable, because it could make things better if we got out of our comfort zones and started caring. And that was when we had to convince your father to become vegan, right?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't on board. So at all.
That's a really cool story. You told me this, but I want to hear it again for all our viewers. But what I want to know first, actually, Quillan, like your mom said she went vegan before you. Like, what was your first thought when she went vegan? Like, what was the experience for you? Were you like, or were you like, interesting?
I was interested, but since Papa was not vegan at that time, and I was kind of volleying in between, because, like, for instance, and at night with dinner we'd all have salads, let's say, but his would have sausages on it, and I would want some, and so I was kind of volleying in between, but then I realized that it's bad for the environment, it's bad for the animals, it's all bad.
Bad for your health.
It's all bad. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have like a big meal of like beans and rice and like extra tofu or something, and poor Papa would be putting on like Beyond sausage, or not Beyond sausage. Originally, it was like actual sausage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that prompted me eventually. So this turns into like the year after I had started PART. So the year after I'd started, when I said I started learning about the vast environmental issues, I eventually had to approach his father, because we have probably experienced this before, us current vegans, of sometimes you're having a meal with somebody, and even if you're not saying anything, there's almost a weird simmering energy coming from that person, because they are feeling challenged by what you're eating and how you're thriving. And I should also preface that in that year that I had transitioned, but his father had not transitioned, I, who have historically always been like terrible of health in comparison to him, was like skyrocketing and having like the best health of my life. Mental health issues that I had struggled with my entire life are gone. Gastrointestinal issues, like inflammation issues, because I have Lyme. I got it when Quillan was a baby. We do a lot of hiking. And so I was feeling great. And his father, who was like doubling down on basically this like paleo diet and eating like even more meat and dairy, was like throwing out his back left and right. He was doing really terribly. And so there was like a simmering bad energy. So eventually I was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. We're making Quillan very confused. I very much care about the environment and animals, and you usually say you do too, but this hypocrisy is becoming a terrible chasm in between us. And either like I can leave this household, or animal products will leave this household, but one of us is going. And it was a hard conversation, right? Like You were there. We were all like, we're an open talking family. So Quillan was 100% in on this too.
Kind of sinking into the wall.
Yeah, because it was just uncomfortable, but we believe in openness. And so my husband was like, then the animal products are going. And it became, he would say his only regret is not having started sooner. He also, like, he has an LDL of 60 now. We have family histories wrought with heart disease. So there was like, he got super healthy. He wasn't throwing out his back anymore. He was living his actual truths. Like he was becoming an animal lover and like living to the best way that he could environmentally. Because one of our like family mottos is a Maya Angelou quote, and it's do the best you can until you know better. And when you learn better, do better. And so we're always like, it doesn't matter what happened before. If you didn't know then, just move forward. Just like constantly move forward and become better. So Papa started doing that. And then now we've had the best years of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And you, because also on like the health standpoint, Quillan had failure to thrive before we launched onto this. So from years 2 until 4, so that year 3 where I was hearing about keto was like right smack in the middle of this, Quillan had stopped growing. And he was having endless health issues. He had an endoscopy. He was having constant blood draws. They couldn't figure out what was going wrong with him. And he was eating what would be considered a healthy American diet. Like we had like organic, antibiotic-free animal products, and there was lots of fruit and vegetables. We didn't eat a lot of processed food. but his doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And at first they were like, well, just stop the gluten. Like, we think the gluten is the issue. But nothing changed. And it wasn't until we changed and became like mainly plant-based whole food. Like, we are 100% vegan. It's just sometimes we still eat junk food, that he rocketed out of that diagnosis. Right. And his doctor still gets like absolutely gobsmacked when he sees him, because he's like, I just don't understand this. I'm like, well, here's some books. Like, it makes sense.
Oh, wow. That must have felt so good to be like, look, like the doctors don't even, very often that's not shaming or blaming. It's very often the fact that they just don't really learn that much in their education around nutrition, and it's not their forte. So going to a doctor to ask for nutrition advice might not always be the right place to go. You much rather go to a nutritionist like yourself, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not technically a nutritionist, but I just got certification in nutrition. So, but just so that I don't give a false label.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think many Americans don't know, because this is now something I have seared into my brain, is that in America, and this is like a quote from Harvard, less than a quarter of our medical schools offer a single class. So less than a quarter offer a single class on nutrition for our doctors.
Whoa.
So it's like less than 25% have had one class. Like, I've had 3 different courses on it, and that's just at Cornell. That's not including like all of the other nutrition classes and webinars that I've done with nutritionist and dietitian friends. But like, his doctor literally, like, he wasn't taught it. And they're leading by industry, because industry has a lot of control in America. So industry is pushing like, you need dairy, but it's like over 65% of us are lactose intolerant, and those numbers go way higher when you get into people of color. African Americans are about 75%, Native Americans are about 95%, as are Asian. So they're pushing things on children, just honestly not knowing that they're perpetuating a lot of the health issues. So we have to educate them back, is kind of how we've gotten about it, right? We learn more, and we just try to like say it very calmly. But thankfully, Quillan, like, he has a cardiologist, and our local pediatric cardiologist is promoting vegan diets, because it's the best thing that we can do for our heart. So thankfully, he started. Yeah.
Especially the whole food plant-based diet, right?
Yes.
Like cutting out the junk food. Last week I was in Helsinki and we talked about it, and it was like there's a lot of like good vegan food, but it's mainly junk food.
Yeah.
So I had a little junk food excursion, but usually being focused on whole food plant-based foods as well. What I love to actually hear more about, because I know you told me this, and I like, you said the moment, when you're talking to your husband, to your dad, Quillan, and it was really uncomfortable because you kind of put him to make a decision. You said like, it's either or it's we're gonna go vegan family, like no more animal products here. And you said you have a background in environmentalism, which probably has helped make that decision, because the link of veganism and environmentalism is really strong. It's very, very good for the environment to choose a plant-based diet and to go vegan. But like, what's also exciting for me is to see how that has further developed for both of you, because I keep saying this to people when I meet people and I tell them about our team and I tell them about both of you. Who's that, by the way? It's a little cutie.
That's Wicket's cat, or Quillan's cat, came up to say hi.
Oh,
that would be Wicket, named after the Ewok in Star Wars.
I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry, we're listening. He just is always...
Wicket is always welcome in the stream as well. Everybody say hi to Wicket. I see Jen is joining from Maryland, by the way. She's watching on Facebook. I see Jasna is there. Nandi is there.
Hi,
yeah, I'm just seeing that there's some beautiful people joining us. Where was I? At the experience from me to you, and like the way I relate to you, and the way I feel so fucking inspired is you said like openness is such a big topic in your family. And every time when I see a piece of content that you post for your own social media, for your own website, and for you, Quillan, for your art, which I want to talk about more in a minute as well, because I think that is such a phenomenal way of advocating for the planet and the animals and touching people's hearts. Like, it inspired me to keep painting again and start painting again and like you inspire me. You really do. And I keep saying this to you, Quillan. Like I see such an empowered leader that you're growing into and already are in many ways, right? So at some point you're going to take over the Vreedom Quest. I'm going to be like, you be the CEO, honey. You take charge. You make the good choices. But like the honesty that is flowing through your family and the way you treat each other is something that I just want to see more of in this world. And that's also one thing that I see both of you providing to our Vreedom family, to the members in our community, as your curriculum is developing along. And we're working on that right now. It's in the beginning stages, you know, so we're really figuring out where we're going with this. But what I know is that both of you will be creating a course for the Vreedom Quest that will help families, vegan families, communicate veganism better, manage themselves better in life. And what you said before, like this level of honesty and transparency and truth that is coming through you, it is uncomfortable. It does take a lot of courage. And even before hopping live, you know, we talked about it, Quillan, you said like doing Zoom rooms and stuff, it doesn't really feel home for you that much because you're at a screen, you know, you're not feeling like the person might be there sometimes. But the courage to step out of that is what it's just like, I keep seeing that in both of you, that courage. And Jacqueline, you've been writing for us, you know, it says it here in the title, you're also a copywriter. So you've been writing for the Vreedom Quest, some of the wonderful captions and copies that you, dear watchers and listeners, have seen. Jacqueline has created those and many more to come. And yeah, there's just such a blend of skills coming in with both of you being part of the Vreedom team. And one of those that I, as I said, want to zoom in on a little bit is for you, Quillan, to share with us a little bit about how you started developing your artworks and how you started linking them to, you know, teaching people about the animals, how we can care for them more, and the environment. I actually also want to show some of your art. So I'm going to see to pull up your Instagram here for a minute, if that's okay for you.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up here. So your Instagram is Quillan's Crafts, and I can open them here. And as I do so, can you share with us like like think back to the first painting you ever made that was related to veganism and activism? How did that go? How did that happen?
I'm trying to think.
Done so many. Don't even. This kind of sounds like the start of time.
Would your shy Hilliards originally from Dune be kind of tied to that? Because they were about water. Those seem like some of your earliest ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those are some of your most recent ones.
Yeah. The thick cloud covering over Earth of gases and what do you call it? Harmful materials, you could say.
Yeah, those are from
This one here, huh?
Wildfire smokes. Above one of Earth's eyes, you can see one of the wildfires.
You'd have to really zoom in.
Yeah.
Let me zoom in on that. Yeah, above the eye, huh? Here.
Because climate change is perpetuating the wildfires and animal agriculture is perpetuating the climate change, right?
Yeah.
So we're using up more land, taking away more water, adding more emissions into the skies.
It's making it so soon and if we on the grand scale someday and we'll either go vegan the good way or the bad way. The good way is we change now and stop all the other animals from being extinct, or we can wait a while, keep eating meat, and then every animal on Earth will die and we'll have to go vegan.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that option, right? We want the first option.
We want the first one.
We'd rather not push a lot of animals to extinction.
Yeah, like all of these. They're all types of creatures that are eaten.
So I would say, because I may need to help you out with this. I think part of what made you originally start connecting your painting with your activism is that was something I was teaching you, right?
You were teaching me.
Yeah, I should say.
I'm very thankful for that.
Aside from the homeschooling, my entire social media presence shifted in the end of 2019. And I realized if I was going to be putting anything out there, it shouldn't be narcissistically ego-based as like, look at how great I am. It should be, hey guys, this is what we could be doing. This is what we are doing, because I know that's gonna, like, that's what you kind of want to know, family members or whatever, but like, this is what we're doing and this is what we all could be doing. It's not just like, aren't we great? Because we shifted vegan when we were amidst both of his parents having very busy jobs. I was a care coordinator for people with developmental disabilities. So it's kind of like managing all the different services that they have. And you have, almost 40 people, and you're working late into the day and early in the morning because people have issues that pop up all the dang time. And you're on the go a lot to go visit them at hospitals or their houses or whatever. And so we were doing that and still doing the vegan transition then amidst like that big old juggle. And then we continued that on when I left the workforce and started homeschooling you. So then we also knew how to do it on a really tight American budget.
Yeah.
Because Papa's not rolling in dough. We're not homeschooling you and staying home because we have money to spare. Like, it's a sacrifice, but it's something that we found important. So anyway, because I've always really liked doing photography and writing and been a documentarian, I immediately made basically a personal pact with myself that if I was going to make any post, it was going to tie back to like, oh, hey, and by the way, there's individual actions we can all be making right now that make this planet better. And you then took your art in that realm. Yeah. Because you're, an amazing painter.
Really are, as we've seen before. Like, and you don't stop. That's what, I see a lot of people starting to create, and then out of a certain lack of motivation, they kind of stop. Mm-hmm. And I think the difference here is that you're intrinsically very motivated to educate people, and creating it with we've seen some Lego photos, we've seen a lot of paintings, those beautiful underwater worlds that I just pulled up before, Yeah. And I think this intrinsic motivation is A, what keeps you going, B, what keeps you both going, and C, what also, makes us find our family here in the Freedom Quest. I think we're all really so married to the vision of we want to live in a world that we can live in. Because if we don't make some changes, we might not, We really might not. And that's why I keep being so touched and inspired every time I see your posts coming up on social media, Quillan, like, oh my God, another painting. Oh, and there's an exhibition. You're also doing exhibitions. So you're co-creating on these, but like, obviously your art is the main performance piece in those exhibitions. Do you want to tell us about the last couple of ones and like some of the cool moments? Did you have some really cool conversations in those with people? Did kids or adults ask questions on the paintings? How do those exhibitions go?
Yeah, like your most recent show.
Well, my most recent show that went well. And we, what do you call it?
It was paired up with Veg Fest.
We were paired up with Veg Fest.
Syracuse Veg Fest.
Yep. And we with the art show, with the Quill and Craft art show, I donated half of my proceeds, right? Half of the proceeds.
It was 10% of your proceeds to Vegan CNY.
10%.
And then half of it had to go toward basically back to Veg Fest because you're paying to be a vendor at Veg Fest and you needed to pay for your vendor spot.
Yeah.
But so
and you needed to pay for the tents.
Yeah. Yep. And then all of the proceeds for the bake sale went towards Veg Fest. So we do things where you try to raise money for organizations that matter to you. Vegan CNY is something that you volunteer with. We both volunteer with it, but Vegan CNY does like a weekly soup kitchen. But it's like free fresh foods like out on a corner in downtown Syracuse that we're handing out. And they do the Veg Fest, which we're a part of. Yep. They also host the Vegan Living Program, which is a coaching program that you help out with. Yeah. So we try to donate money and time to them as much as we can. But it's your art show. Have you had people, I think what June meant was, have there been any kids who've come there that are not vegan that may be inspired?
Yeah.
Let's see. No. I don't really think there were any kids that weren't vegan there.
I think let's maybe not use names, but the little girl who bought Charybdis Awakes, her family, they're transitioning, right? They know you, they met you through the soup kitchen.
I remember them.
Yeah, so I'd say you bring up your veganism to children a lot.
Yeah, I try to get them to go vegan.
And you bring it up calmly and give them information and kind of go about your way, but you try to be a good advocate for healthiness and sustainability and kindness and the whatnot. And I think that.
What kind of questions do they like to ask you, like from kid to kid? Are they like, oh my God, but don't you miss that food? Or are they more like, are you healthy? What's a question a lot of kids ask you?
It's more like and I tell them what veganism is and that they should go vegan, but they say, well, I just eat all food. But they do
I eat lots of pepperonis and hot dogs is the last one, right?
And they often and the question that they ask is often on something kind of like, what was it? They actually don't really ask much of a question. It's just kind of a sort of just kind of like a not really trying to stay in the conversation, just trying to slip out of it, like some sort of ooze.
Like I just gotta go like some kind of ooze.
They're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Same like adults. Same game, huh?
Yeah, but you did have a really positive experience with one of your cousins recently, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, let's maybe not use her name to out her just out of protectiveness, but she was asking good questions, right? Like,
what kind of questions?
In the pool.
Yeah, well, but then she was talking to you over Legos, right?
Yeah, and so her and Mama were having a conversation earlier about veganism. She seemed very interested, but then later, since we invited the cousin family over for dinner, right? There were some Legos there that we brought from home to Madison, and while we were playing with those, she said that I accidentally pulled out a
turkey,
a Lego turkey, as in the like dead type, for being on a dinner plate or something. And she said that she was going to go vegan.
Yeah, you guys had a good conversation. Yeah. She had, I find a lot of children don't ask questions yet, but you're young yet. You're only 8. So I think often it's more, I'm going to now tell you what I do like to eat tends to be the most immediate human response. Like, oh, you don't eat animals? Like, but I love eating animals.
I like cheese and pepperoni.
Yeah, and we're learning ways to maybe respond to them, right? I mean, Mom is still learning. You're wise beyond your years, but we're all still learning. But that particular niece was asking the kind of good questions of, well, I think a lot of people say things like, I may be able to go vegetarian, but I don't think I could ever go vegan. So I've gotten better at now saying, I used to say that too. Like I, grew up in Illinois. I was all about the dairy. I didn't think I could live life without it, but there's so many different, junk food versions of that now. But there's also things like cashew queso, which we make all the dang time, and that's super whole food and great.
I love it.
And so her hearing that there were options piqued her mind, and me reminding her that that I didn't realize this early on, because again, I wasn't always vegan, but I would say personally that dairy is worse than meat eating. I think people think like, well, I'm not hurting the cow. It still ends in slaughter, is what I told her. I was like, it still ends in slaughter. It's just kept around longer so she can keep getting impregnated and have her babies taken away repeatedly. And that's, especially as a mom, that is far more heartbreaking to me. And those babies are signed up to either the exact same fate or killed as baby boys if they're veal. And she was horrified about that, just as I was. And she was like, but I was always told that they needed to be milked. And I was like, that was what I was told too, but they only need to be milked because we've impregnated them and taken away their baby and keep milking them in the same way that like a mom doesn't make milk anymore after she hasn't had a baby. It's the same way. And I'm like, we don't think about these things because we kind of don't want to. We want to cover our ears and just not think about it. But I'm like, it's harming that cow heartbreakingly, and it's harming the earth, and it's harming our health. So, and she was open to it. She had a good energy. And so we learn all these different ways to speak to people about it. Right. But I feel like you plant seeds a lot, even if people are too nervous to ask questions.
Yeah.
When you're bringing up those facts, they're hearing it. And as our friend Crystal likes to say, they're probably thinking about it when they're putting their head down to the pillow at night. They're thinking about what has been said, even if like all of us don't come up with the exact responses that we want, or I would say most of us, unless you're like, Aaron Sorkin writing out a script, because it's like most of us, like, you just don't think about the great thing to say right then. You have to mull it over. It's got to grow.
Yeah.
It very
I
much
love
does
that.
have to grow.
Sorry?
It does have to grow.
Exactly. There's a lot of that's really wise, because there's a lot of vegans out there. Some of the people watching or listening. By the way, Jasna is joining in, and she says, you guys are amazing. Quillan being an advocate amongst kids is extremely important and efficient for the animals and the environments. Planting seeds, Jasna says. Yeah, the planting seeds part is like, what we're doing with the Vreedom Quest is, right, we're figuring out how to nurture those seeds as fast as we can so that they can grow and pop as fast as the sprouts in my sprouts jar over there grow and pop. A couple of days,
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part of it, because like with your wisdom in the ways that you communicate it and your way of advocating, Quillan, with like providing art, creating art that has such a potent message. Like we've seen before, the earth, right?
Yeah.
That is suffering and that is saying something. Earth is saying something, and you just visualize that. And like I think a lot of people that see that and understand English will understand what that artwork is all about. And that coming from you is another inspiring factor, because there aren't a lot of kids that create art with such a powerful message. Now we have some phenomenal, they're in their teenage, young adulthood now, like Greta Thunberg, I'm thinking of. She's been an advocate for the environment and for animals in many ways for years now, as she was a kid as well, But like, I think the younger we start actually speaking up, the clearer our voice still is. And like for myself, your mom, maybe your dad, it takes a lot of time to deconstruct these beliefs that we grew up on. And I just can't wait to see like the next generations that now, like you, Quillan, what you're going to bring to this world. Like the level of awareness and care towards the planet and the animals, and the level of understanding and applying that is what I'm looking forward to within the next decade, to see that, experience that, observe that, and learn from that. I think the tables are always turning. We're always learning from each other, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of tables are turning, having different roles, having very different facets of activism, there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet. Jacqueline, you have a website that we shared before. It's called Jazz Squatch, and I'm just going to bring it up because I kind of want to learn a little bit more about how that has happened. And like your type of activism has also taken a lot of different shapes, right? So this is the website here. It looks like a blog format. It basically is a blog format. So you have different posts that you've written. And you mentioned before, as a creator, a writer, a photographer, you bring this all into a shape where you address the biggest part of the main issue. And what I'm seeing here is lovely pancake recipes.
Yeah, that's great.
You wrote on a podcast.
Yeah, you like those pancakes.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one? The pancakes. Huh?
Yeah, he goes, I love those pancakes.
Yeah.
Let's open that post for a minute. I want to see. Let's see them.
Yeah.
I could tell you freaking love them. Look at you.
How young you were there. I was telling June that like I haven't the website doesn't get updated as much as Instagram, which there is a tiny link for it. But the website got started, but it has lots of recipes on it. But look how young you are. And the website was started in 2020, and it was like actually the very tail end of 2019. But most of what's on there is from 2020 and 2021. And I was kind of at my freshest, fieriest, like vegan passion stage that I also was roped into. I feel like there's grief cycles in a lot of things in life. And if you're an environmentalist, you're kind of in a perpetual grief cycle right now because, or an animal lover, right? Because we have animals dying that don't need to, and we have this beautiful earth getting hurt and we don't need it to. So I write from a place of passion. It's actually what my college professors always told me to not do. They were like, you need to like write this after you've calmed down a bit. And it was like, I don't know if you know me, but I'm always fired up about something. Like there's always like, that's my frequency. So the website was a lot of long form writing and photography about health, like in-depth health topics and environmental topics, because I'm at this crossroad of veganism is our answer to our health crisis, our environmental crisis, and it helps spares animals that don't need to be suffering from getting hurt. So like we should be amplifying this out in every direction. So I try to rope all of those things in. So the website is a lot of that. It goes deep into things like Alzheimer's disease and strokes and how they're tied to animal products, or diabetes and cancer and cardiovascular disease, but then also has like, but here's a really great recipe and here's what we were eating today. Like here's multiple options, because I'm like an octopus, as you say, right? There's things going in every which direction at all time. Yeah, that was our mentor, the man Zakin, who got Quillan's father and I together. Basically, he was our professor. He was an art professor at college. He was the one who prompted a young, not very intelligent me, who was like, oh, we're going to graduate college and we'll just go our separate ways. He was like, that man has considerable worth and you need to stick by him. And it was the best advice that I had in my life, because your papa is my soul partner. Yeah. We help each other grow. We're constantly making each other better. It was why that one moment was so friction filled, because it was like, but we're always trying to grow forward. So why are we not growing forward with this very important information? But he did. Yeah. And your papa is a great advocate too, even though he is not a social media person, so he's not online, but he talks to people at work all the time. He actually ended up having to get Venmo because they were ordering out vegan food so much. It's like,
not bad.
So he's a more one-on-one speaker with people. Yeah.
Which can't be underestimated, because I'm quoting Sandra Nomoto, the writer of the book Vegan Marketing Success Stories. I have it behind me. She's written a blog post and she's did an analysis on the most effective types of vegan activism. Really cool book. Can recommend it, by the way. If anybody wants it, look up Sandra Nomoto.
Okay.
Been reading this, really good work. But she has a blog post where she like compares the most effective types of vegan activism based on different studies and research. And in-person conversations is, according to that blog post, top 3 in the top 3. So we can't underestimate that. And I just love so much that the whole family is in it. Like for me, with my mom, like if I would show you around the house, there's posters hanging around everywhere. Like she's always thinking of like, oh, we have a new like bucket that's standing out there for 2 months, you know, what can I write on that bucket? What will be a really powerful sentence? Because we have a lot of kids and teens walking up like past this house here to go to school. So she's like, what would be a sentence? What could I put up there? And sometimes I hear kids walking up to school and they're like, that's the vegan house. Like these are vegans. Like that, I've seen something about veganism there. So it's like it's in their realm. So, you know, can't underestimate the little impact that you have in one-on-one conversations. I just wanted to highlight that. And writing as well. Like that's the last thing that I want to talk about, because that's also one of your key roles for us in the Freedom Quest is your writing. And I made the conscious decision to choose you because there were so many people that could have been our writers, but the way that you write is so funky, fresh, on point, and it just matches the personality of myself, and furthermore, like the Freedom Quest, what we stand for. Like the Freedom Quest, yes, we're freedom warriors, yes, we're there for the animals and you know, empowered and stuff like that, but we're also sweet and funny and humble, and that's what your writing embodied so much. And I just want to personally thank you for being such a cool writer and being a writer on our team. How has it been for you writing? Like, has it been super exciting, challenging? How has it been for you writing for the Freedom Quest?
It's all great. It's all like, if it's uncomfortable, that's always a learning process. So trying to figure out how to write something and condense it down can sometimes be difficult, but I like that challenge. I mean, with my Instagram posts, it's usually like I have 35 minutes and I got to type it all out quickly. And that's where those really long ones come from. And for you, it's been nice being like, I'm going to set aside like an hour for this, but I only need to write her about 2 sentences. Just processing and trying to get into your voice, right? Because it can't, I mean, it should be a little bit of my voice, but if anything, I'm so inspired by what the whole crew is doing. Yeah. Because I feel like everybody has different skills, but they're all working on trying to amplify whatever skill they have to make the world better. It's not like, look at me. It's like, what can we do together? And that is, I mean, that's like my dream people. Yeah. I love a really well-run team, and you have
what the earth should be.
What the earth should be. You're right. I'm blessed with Vreedom Quest being a fantastic team and the Syracuse Veg Fest ladies being a fantastic team. And it's all about people getting together to make things better and not like, look at what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's also what was so beautiful for me. Like, I can relate so much because before the Vreedom Quest, I was offering life coaching services to vegans and activists, right? And it was very often like what I've learned in the marketing trainings that I've done and the writing, copywriting trainings that I've completed is like, you got to show a lot about yourself, you know, you got to talk a lot about yourself. And did I like it? I was at peace with it. I could talk about my life. It's interesting. Same with your lives. They're really interesting. We can share a lot. But like, what are we actually here for? What do I want to happen or wish to happen when I leave this planet? What do I want to see in the world? Do we want to see people like go to vegan places all the time, choose animal freedom and love and compassion over the sense of tradition and taste that they're used to? Abso-fucking-lutely. So I got to stop talking about myself and talk about how we're going to get there. Yeah. And that's how the Vreedom Quest was born, right? And that's how all of you came into this wonderful team. And now these courses are being created. 2 of them are already online. There's another one coming out within the next 2 months that isn't announced yet. So I'm very excited to announce that one to us as a team, but also to the public very soon. And in January 2024, we'll open the doors officially to 10 courses. I'm just going to quickly show them to our viewers here. There are on our website. So if you haven't been to our website, it's thevreedomquest.com. And then in the menu bar on top, you have different options. If you scroll down, you'll end up in the same options. And we have these courses that are coming out soon. So the mental and emotional well-being for vegans is already out. That one is online on our platform. And then in January, we're launching the Handling Non-Vegan Objections course, which is really interesting, as we just talked about, you know, how do you deal with people that aren't vegan yet? What kind of stuff do you say to them? So that will be a course with like a whole bunch of sentences that people can use not only as templates, but use them in their own type of speaking. Furthermore, the Ethical Brand Marketing course by Jessica Lohman for people that are more tech savvy, more marketing oriented, more interested in bringing other people's vegan businesses big. That's going to be a course that teaches you how to do that. Then we're having the Teaching and Educating course, Effective Vegan Teaching and Education, which we're currently testing, as you both know, right?
So good. Yeah.
It's so fun, right?
It's so helpful. Yeah, I'm loving this beta class.
Yeah, Colin is such a powerful teacher. I missed the last live stream though, because I was in Helsinki and I just missed it. But I'm catching the recordings to test it. This is for everybody who's listening, by the way. This is the test round. So the course is not officially online yet. We within the team are testing our courses to give the trainers feedback and optimize the courses for the launch so that the courses aren't wishy-washy and a little bit okay, but that they are really freaking good, right? So the Teaching and Education course, then there's a storytelling course that I'm creating and a public speaker course for the members of our community. Both also are going to launch in January. Then we're having the Art of Conscious Relating course, which really ties into what we talked about earlier, you know, communication in family, friend circles, honesty, truth. That course I've created and it's already online to the members of our platform. So everybody who's watching or listening, you can literally sign up now and you can start that course. You can start the Conscious Relating course, or you can start the Mental and Emotional Wellbeing course. And you can do that for only $8.50 a month until the end of 2024. So about 1.5 years, you're paying only $8.50 a month. From January on, it will be $34 a month. The early bird discount expires end of July. So everybody who's watching or listening and you want to get your ass into our Vreedom family and start with these courses and amplify your life, your impact as a vegan, but also your journey as an individual, then that's the place for you. Furthermore, you see here the Art of Vegan Blogging and Energetic Empowerment, which are 2 courses that are currently in development and we will launch. If you're kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure if this is for me and stuff, you can go to our website and we have a section called free webinars. Almost every single weekend, we're hosting a free webinar for everybody who wants to come in and join. You can do that via our website. You go to thevreedomquest.com/free webinars and you put your email and name in here and you'll get the exclusive invitation to these live webinars, right? The webinars are also available for 24 hours for free after we live streamed it. And if anybody missed some of these webinars, you can sign up to the platform and you will have lifetime access to those. So that's everything that's happening for the members of our Vreedom Quest platform. Check out more on our website. We have a whole section about the vision where we share about what exactly we want to do and how we're going to achieve it. 50% of the global human population by 2030 is a lot of people. That's over 4 billion people that we want to veganize. And we believe the way to do so is education within our vegan community, a holistic education. And that's what we are. The Vreedom Quest is a holistic education platform for vegans, right? So yeah, everybody who wants to join, there's a link in the description of this live stream. Go ahead and click it. And I just want to highlight one more time how grateful I am for both of you, Jacqueline and Quillan. You're so cool.
We're grateful for you too.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to leave our beautiful listeners or vegan community with? Some magical words? This is the moment where you're like, oh my God, what am I going to say? I have so many good things to say. Blah, 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 blah.
You know me, I'm crazy about quotes. So first of all,
Maya Angelou was mentioned before. Beautiful, beautiful quotes by her.
Our 2, I think, most inspiring ones other than that forward growth one are there's an African proverb that's if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito in the room. Me like that one as like you may think your voice is too little to make a difference, but it isn't. We've impacted at this point several hundred people to start making plant-based choices or become vegan. And that's just with us. And those people then radiate out to more. And the other one is if you don't feel like you can be a personal activist, and if you don't feel like being a vocal advocate, there's a lot of different ways to be an advocate, just even being vegan is being an advocate. But there's a great Edith Wharton quote that I always like that is, there's 2 ways to spread light, to be a candle or the mirror that reflects it. So if you can't necessarily be the candle out there kind of like blazing trails, just reflect it. Do what you can personally and try to amplify that way.
Yeah.
And what would you say?
Don't really have anything. You said the mosquito in the room quote that I would say.
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
If you think you're too small to make a difference, just think of one mosquito in the room, right?
Yeah. And keep working hard and you can lead a swarm.
Amen. Amen, Quillan. Oh, I love you both so much. Thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable and giving us a little bit more insights into your life. I'm looking forward to connect with both of you further outside of this live stream. If anybody has any questions for Quillan or for Jacqueline, you've now seen their website. You see where to reach them. Both of them are available on Instagram. Just comment underneath this live stream. Be like, I want to talk. I want to get in touch. There's so many ways to get in touch. Just make yourself visible out there. And thank you so much for watching and listening to this live stream. So much love.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.